massive protests across Tel Aviv. Thousands of demonstrators blocking highways and filling the streets, demanding an immediate ceasefire to free the remaining hostages in Gaza. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum is calling it a national day of struggle. All this as Israel prepares for a new offensive in Gaza City, insisting it's necessary to defeat Hamas. And tonight, global criticism is growing after an attack on a Gaza hospital that killed 20 people, including doctors, nurses, and 5 journalists. Now, Israel says 6 of those killed were terrorists. Now, we're getting some inside perspective here from Aaron Poris. He's an independent journalist and podcaster, but you worked in Israel as a reporter from 2015 to 2024, and that is an extended amount of time. So you really have a firsthand knowledge of what goes on there. When you heard what happened, what was your reaction to this? Do you think that there was a mishap, or was this the intended target?
So the intended target was the first strike, which Israel already admitted to. They said that Hamas had put a surveillance camera, a high-tech surveillance camera, on the hospital intended to observe IDF troop positions. Right. This is actually not new. Nasser Hospital has been targeted multiple times and exposed multiple times. Even just this past April, there was a leaked memo saying where Hamas had ordered some civilian to come for interrogation at Nasser Hospital. So it's not the second strike is perhaps the mishap, which was the tank shelling. But again, to answer your question, my first reaction to any news that comes out of Gaza is wait for the report, because anything and everything that comes out of Gaza, even the number that we just heard, the 20 people, that's a Hamas Health Administration Bureau number. So even that's not confirmed. And
that's where there seems to be an issue, because, we're hearing some reports of the numbers. And of course, then Israel says that that's not true, that this is all backed by Hamas. It's hard to figure out what's going on, because we know that those 5 journalists, they were Palestinian, but they worked for Reuters, AP, sure, Al Jazeera. They were clearly marked press. They're being called innocent bystanders, witnesses in reporting and recording the news, and yet many believe they were targeted.
So this is one of the things where, again, I'm not in the head of the IDF.
No.
I'm not going to say.
Did you feel like you were ever targeted as a journalist?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think the very fact that if you look at much of the press in Israel and how critical it is of Israel just goes to show how free the press is to be critical. It's not about criticism of Israel, it's about telling the truth.
So you're saying that every journalist there is connected to Hamas?
I'm saying that in Gaza, at least until very recently, now in the south, between the Morag corridor and the Philadelphia corridor, which is in the south, that's a different situation because Hamas is no longer there. But beyond that and up until 2023, absolutely, the Hamas Bureau, or if you were not licensed to report by Hamas, and if you did not toe the Hamas line, then you were not reporting in Gaza for very long. And that's the very fact. I mean, I have here many, many, many quotes going all the way back to 2008 from journalists who have said, we had to take out key pieces of information, including from the AP. Mati Friedman in 2008 from the AP, he said, I was one of the first people that I know of who had to remove the fact in the 2008 war that Hamas was dressed as in civilian clothing. We had to remove that fact because they threatened our correspondent in Gaza.
Well, Aaron, right now, though, we know that there are no Israeli journalists in Gaza, right? Is that correct?
No. Journalists, not just Israeli, but foreign journalists, are allowed to go into Gaza as long as they go with the IDF. And the reason for that is security. Because if you were to go in independently, you would likely be willingly or unwillingly used as propaganda fodder for Hamas. Hamas will fire from, say, a hotel that is housing foreign journalists so that the IDF will strike the hotel.
Well, of course we know that, Netanyahu said they were going after this camera, yet it was hit twice.
Correct.
And those journalists were hit. But what proof do we know that they're connected to Hamas, that you're saying?
So we know, so first of all,
how do we know what to believe as the viewers and people at home?
Absolutely. So first of all, oftentimes Hamas's own records, which have been recovered and released by the IDF, or even from their own social media, will out a lot of these people as being connected. Now, just in the last couple hours, researching and preparing for this segment, I found of the journalists who were named, who were killed, we have Hussam al-Masri. I don't know much about him. I'll say that. And again, this is not proof that they are Hamas.
But running out of time here and trying to say, I mean, what do we know that how
So again, we have Mariam Daka. She was praised by the AP and Rolling Stone. She openly taught journalism at the Hamas ministry, at the Hamas Information Ministry. Mohammed Salama was embedded with Hamas on October 7th and went in during the invasion. Muaz Abu Taha, Palestine al-Hayum, also embedded with Hamas on 10/7 and praised the atrocities. Ahmed Abu Aziz, maybe the best one, Middle East Eye, celebrated 10/7 as the greatest day in the generation, spread the lie that the Thai workers who had been taken hostage were actually militants, were mercenaries.
But doesn't that back the possibility, though, that they were targeted because of that?
Not necessarily, because when Israel targets, they say we have a person here, we have a specific target, and we attack that. That's why whenever somebody says, well, how many civilians have you killed, Israel isn't able to come up with that number because they're not targeting civilians.
And so right now, as people hear and around the globe, it's hard to really know what is going on right now because of all the information that seems to be conflicting at this point. All right, well, more obviously that's unfolding. We do appreciate your insight. A lot of things people don't know. Aaron Poris is an independent journalist and podcaster. We appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure.